So I'm over here at the pull apart, and I'm taking the rocker arm assemblies off this motor and the top cover as well. I'm probably gonna end up putting trunnions in these, but yeah, I got one off already, so I'm not trying to be here. It's 100 something degrees. Well, it's supposed to be. It's already in the 90s right now, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning, so trying to make haste. As you'll see here, I was able to get these rocker arms cleaned up pretty well and installed, torqued down at 22 foot-pounds. I rotated the motor over a couple times and everything seems to be functioning just great. So we'll go ahead. Here you see that I'm actually going to put the gaskets inside the valve covers and get those ready to be fully installed. I also did score some new hardware. It's stainless steel. And I got a couple of these rubber grommets that go over the bolt. You know, they're new. So I'm definitely going to get those installed, guys. Those rubber grommets are pretty important because they do stop some good leaking. Back over here. So this is the wiring for my O2 sensor. And it's kind of melted. They had it against the exhaust. So I am going to do the best that I can with finding a way to remedy this. As you can see, it's pretty damn burnt up, so my only option really is to replace it. These back ones are the leads for the downstream. You'll see on the driver's side the connector is already okay, and the downstream seems to just have been cut off completely, which I don't mind. I'll leave it like that. But in the meantime, I think it's going to be pretty important that I find a new connector. So here I have some stuff to put on. Auto lights, I have my NOx sensors, coolant temp sensor, oil pressure sensor. I also have my throttle body adapter from LS1 to 2 Silverblade, this 4-bolt to 3-bolt adapter, and a new harness for the NOx sensors to install with them, guys. So yeah, this stuff was all sourced from Amazon, pretty readily available, and pretty affordable to keep it with Delco parts. So I'm going to start with these spark plugs first, and then do the throttle body. And then I guess I'll put these NOx sensors in with these new NOx sensor covers, you guys. This coolant sensor is pretty much just a generic one. It's not GM or anything special like that. Over here, you guys will see me actually starting to tighten up the header bolts over here, which are not that bad actually to get to. So getting those on there nice and tight, and we're gonna end up going ahead to see if we could make some wiring repairs while I'm over here too. Over here I'm actually just being able to kind of get an idea of how I want to run this AC line. It is a tight fit, but I think I'm gonna be able to make it work, just depending. I might have to index it a little bit. So this is everything bolted on. I still need some bolts for a couple of my coil packs to put them on the bracket. I was able to get the water pump mounted. Intake is now on there. As you can see, I also have the injector adapters to go from the EV1 to Multec. And guys, don't worry about this dipstick. This dipstick is just temporary to keep the oil from shooting out of the hole all over the starter and the header. I'm going to buy the appropriate one. So this wiring adapter I picked up here seems to work fairly well. As you can see, I've got movement, so that's pretty good. happy. So, it runs a lot smoother with the bin I got from my buddy Joseph. Shout out Joseph. Beforehand, I had it starting and having to, use the pedal to keep it going. And I'm still having to do that. However, I'm finding it does start a lot quicker. Things I'm dealing with right now are the starter is actually starting to burn out. So, a little history. Before I actually got it to crank over, I was just cranking on it, hoping it would go. And I ended up putting some admittedly decent strain on the starter. So, what I have now is another starter that I'm going to stick on there. I'm actually going to elongate the starter main lead to the battery because what I have in there is just a hair too short for my liking. And then after that, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to try to change over to the Trailblazer SS intake, which is an LS2 intake. And the reason I want to do that, guys, is because my intake that I have on there right now is 78mm from an LQ4. The throttle body is 90mm. So I'm not able to use my throttle body to its full advantage with that restriction of 78mm behind it. So going forward, I'm going to use the Trailblazer SS intake, which has a larger opening, and I'm going to put on my Silverblade GTO LS2 throttle body that I have on the car right now. I also have injector adapters to jump from the 24-pound injectors to the 36-pound injectors. And yeah, so that's what I got in the works now, guys. And I'm really stoked because now that I know this is going, I can focus on other things like plumbing the brakes. I'm also looking at ABS delete. I can do the power steering. I can do the coolant system, and start getting all that stuff laid out. But yeah, I'm really stoked because now we're actually going to start seeing more steps to getting it on the ground and rolling around. Alright guys, well, I guess I'm going to get this intake swap for the Trailblazer SS. It's a shame. I think this one looks pretty cool and I put some work into it, but I can definitely stick it on another project. In the meantime, I'm going to get that starter bolted on there and probably a new fuel pump. But I'll see you guys in the next one.